Hey everyone, it's Josh. I just want to take a quick second to say if you're enjoying the podcast, please like, subscribe, rate, or comment. All of those things help out tremendously. It helps me get better sponsorships, helps me get better guests. I'm able to take this on the road, more consistent video, so many different things. It's all free. So please take a second to help support me by liking, subscribing, commenting, or rating. Also, if you want, there's a donation button. I don't expect anything, but even like 99 cents, there's a couple different options a month. Helps so much. Thank you and enjoy the episode. And welcome back into the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today is our first B-Sides episode. For those that don't know, B-Sides are the leftover audio or extra audio that didn't make it into the final cut. Today's a little different. We have our first episode I ever did in studio with Wes back when we had the old equipment in November. You might notice that the audio is a little off, and that's why we saved it for the B-Sides, mainly not necessarily the content or because it didn't fit. I just wanted everything to be consistent. So thank you so much to Wes for coming in, doing this twice, and here's our original episode. Enjoy, and I will see you later.
Welcome to the Just Josh podcast.
Who the fuck is this guy? Hey, who the fuck are you? Huh? Who the fuck are you?
This whole thing's a little weird.
Never yet fear, laddie buck.
Welcome into the podcast. Today we got Wes Anderson in studio.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, man. Thanks for coming.
This is sick, dude. I've been in this room before where it was more of like a jam room, so it's definitely a different vibe, but I like it.
Thanks.
It's like the old school Korn one from Issues era, Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, that was one of the first shows my dad took me to. And speaking of Lenny Kravitz, the reason I put it up there, because still to this day, I've seen so many shows. That's still probably my top 3 show. If not, like,
really?
Honestly, my favorite show I've ever seen.
Funny Lenny Kravitz shared.
Yeah.
An ex-girlfriend of mine told me she had sex with him.
Oh.
I won't say which ex, but so that was weird.
To be honest, I didn't really expect that.
Is that too NSFW for the podcast?
No, you can say whatever the fuck you want. No, I'm not going to make this PG or anything.
So
this is just going to be what it is.
She was telling the truth, and Lenny Kravitz and I are Eskimo brothers.
That's funny. I actually just watched a documentary on him, or like a bio, and he has like a farm or something in Brazil, really? or somewhere like that. Phenomenal
guitarist.
Oh my goodness.
Not even mad at it.
No. Let's talk about some of your music.
Yeah, sure. You know all this, but since obviously we're hoping other people are going to hear this, I started releasing
they're going to listen. They're going to listen.
They gonna. But yeah, so in May of 2018 I started releasing singles under my own name, and before that I was doing bands for the last 10 years or so, and just needed to branch off and wanted to do something different. So I produce and write the songs myself, and then get a team of collaborators and different guest artists for each song. And it's been going really well. I've been able to work with a lot of cool people, some of my musical heroes even, which is just crazy. But yeah, I just put out my 5th one last Friday, December 6th. It's called Keep Them Talking. I got Marlon Asher, the Ganja Farmer, King Green from Red Gold Green, Donald Spangler from Ballyhoo on drums, and J.R. Gregory, who was Ballyhoo's longtime bassist, on bass. Got him back out. I think it was one of the first songs he's done since he left Ballyhoo.
Oh my goodness, he is so good. And to be honest, JR is the reason that I fell in love with the band and fell in love with the guys. And I think some people think he's like, oh, he's such a fangirl, and it's less about the music. And don't get me wrong, I love their music too. Everything, they're just great guys, but it's the guys.
Yeah, it's a weird, not weird, but it's a cool dynamic to go from, because I was a fan of Ballyhoo, like, shit, probably 10 years ago. I was still living in Chicago, and I didn't even know them on a personal level at all.
That's cool.
And yeah, I met them a few times, just like I was saying, as a fan, and just showing some love and saying what's up. And through different life moments, moved out to Maryland, and now I'm like good friends with them. So it's like it's a different dynamic to go from fan to like peer to friend.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I mean, that's awesome.
And on all these singles, you've had some big names, and like Peanut.
For me, at least, being the 311 fanatic I am. They're the reason I got into music in the first place, as far as playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So to get him on board was just like, doesn't get much better than that. And so Lyrics Born was on that song as well. He was a really cool old school rapper. He's still doing stuff, but
I miss good rap. I used to be heavy into rap. I wasn't like a yo boy or anything like that when I was younger, but I was definitely, there was a time where like rap was really good, and you had even Eminem, Jay-Z, Nas, Common, Immortal Technique. Like I like those type. I like the storyteller rappers like Tupac and Biggie.
And besides the songs that Howie from Ballyhoo sang on, all of my singles have kind of leaned in the hip hop realm.
It has. You've had a few rappers, or at least like lyricists on the songs.
Like King Green from Red Gold Green killed it. He's one of my favorite just rappers.
He's so good.
He did a song Caterpillar last year with Royce da 5'9" and freaking Eminem. Like, what the fuck? Like, he's in the music video with them. Like, you kidding me? And like, it was cool when he was the first guest artist that got on board with Keep Them Talking. So when we were talking about on the phone about the song, obviously, I think it was like shortly after Caterpillar came out. So I was like, obviously, I wanted to ask him about it. I was like, yo, what was it like, doing that song? And he actually wrote a handful of tracks on Royce da 5'9"'s album. Like he went out to Motown. That's where they record. They're all Detroit guys,
right? And
that's home of Motown. So it was, I don't know, just like a lot, like being able to do the collaborations and stuff. You get to hear the backstories of so many things most people would never even know. Like Green has probably more of a career as a writer than the band Red Gold Green.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think they're one of the, particularly him, but I think the band especially is underrated in the sense of like how good they are and the type of, I understand music's changing and kids listen to stuff way different now. Like I keep forgetting how old I am, or just I keep aging myself by looking at like, well, to me it seems like the 90s and 2000s were yesterday. But when I look back, I'm like, wait, that was 20 years ago almost.
Yeah.
And to me, it doesn't seem like a long time. But the kids these days, I mean, they're into the electronic music and stuff like that, and the mumble rap and the Post Malone. I mean, Post is great. I actually really enjoy him. At the same time, it's like someone throws some. I can't sing. The one thing, I can play every instrument pretty well, above average. But I'm sure there's better guitarists or better drummers out there. But I can play everything well, and I think I have really good rhythm and timing. But I can't sing, and it sucks because I sing in the shower and it shuts off. It's like, no, dude. It's like
man. I mean, you gotta, if you want to do it right, you gotta come to grips with what you're good at and what you need to pass off to other people. And that's sort of what I realized. It was like, well, I don't want to do the band thing anymore, but I also need essentially bandmates on each song. So I was like, how do I do that? And it's like, well, I don't want to like pigeonhole into one genre, and I want to work with different types of people and put out different styles of music. So, just getting like the guest artists seemed to be the route, and that seems to be working. But back to your point of Red Gold Green, they're like one of the few rap rock bands. I feel like I think rap rock is such a bad reputation because so many bands sort of exploited it when they kind of blew up in the early 2000s. But I'm happy to see them carry that torch because I think they're doing it in a more modern and fresh way that the modern kids can still get into, but it still has that vibe.
Well, to me, I think what makes it stand out that's different is it's got that DC, Virginia, East Coast style.
The rhythm, like they're, the go-go rhythms.
I was going to say the old school DC, and Dave Grohl drumming on it, like all the DC people. Yeah. I just feel like I think our area is so underrated as far as music talent. And actually how many bands actually came from Maryland, D.C., Virginia that people had no clue actually came from here because they've been on the West Coast so long or whatever the reason is.
D.C. is one of my favorite music cities, man. Like every show I've played there has been exceptional.
I hate parking down there, though.
Yeah, parking's worse. Sorry.
Damn it, man.
I had to log into YouTube because I realized I misspelled a word in the description of the song.
Dude, do your YouTube stuff later. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, you just gotta mute I should have had this all set up before you got here. That's my fault. But yeah, do you want to play some of your new single, "Keep Them Talking"?
Yeah. So this is the newest one. Came out December 6th. It's a week old now.
I love it. What I like is that I've heard it in stages.
Yeah, because I mean we've always keep in touch and jam and share music and stuff. So you've heard this in like its very infant demo form.
And what I love is
come a long way for sure.
And what I love is that when I heard the first one, I couldn't in my head picture how the core or the other parts were gonna go. I heard King Green and I heard some of this other stuff, but then when you hear the final, you're like, wow, this really is pretty cool. I'm a guy that has to either, if I'm doing all the parts, I can see the big picture, but when I'm only given certain parts, it's like
that's sort of like my I'm kind of like it's more of a producer project because when I do have these parts, like I do usually have a overall vision of the vibe of the song, but at the same time I have to give up a little trust to the guest artist because I don't want to interfere. I don't want to interfere with their process. Like when I went out to California to record with Marlon, we didn't talk about the song at all. We just set the studio time, and then I got there. I was like, all right, like, do you have lyrics or how do you want to approach this? And he's like, I'll just go in the studio, see what comes out. And that's literally how it happened. Like his manager told me he's seen Marlon write lyrics on a piece of paper once in his career. Like everything was straight from the hip.
Jay-Z.
Yeah, but it like came out phenomenal, and it was something I would have never thought of myself. But that's why I kind of, I try to work with the pros and the guys that like, don't need me to guide them.
It's where a lot of bands, I know they have a budget, but it's completely worth spending the money to do quality over quantity. And I'm not going to say how much, but I know you've told me different prices or things before, and you're spending a pretty penny on each song. But that's what you have to do if you want to get it out there and work with those type of people. It's
just like any like entrepreneurial venture. Like you have to invest in yourself first and foremost, or else how can you expect anyone else to? So, and we're in our 30s, so like, I'm not trying to put out anything less than professional stuff. At the same time, these artists are doing work, and just as I have gotten compensated for doing guitar work for other artists, this is what I give them as well. And everyone's different. Some people do it for free, others have rates and stuff. That's something like a lot of people always ask is like, how do you get all these people? I'm like, well, a lot of times it's budget. A lot of times it's just a good song. Sometimes it's a friend. Like, yeah. So keep them talking. That's a new one. It's been a lot of fun, and yes, people seem to be digging it.
All right, we'll play a little clip here real quick, and then you can they can get this on iTunes or anywhere else, Spotify, all that stuff. Wes Anderson. If you get on YouTube, type in Wes Anderson and then keep them talking, or at least something King Green, whatever. Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna get a director.
Yes.
He's it's funny. I think I was watching a Wes Anderson directed movie the other day.
Oh, really?
I saw that and I thought of you. But all right, here we go. Let's keep them talking, featuring Marlon Asher and King Green.
Woo. Yeah. Let me some Marlon function, constantly connected to these people I don't fuck with. Motto is to never put these women over funds. Delegate your workers, commands ones you love. Open to a vote, always trying to ball. Always dissing bros, so my exes never call. Constantly a step, the phones never check. Nothing can be urgent, you sending it my text. You rather be Jay, I'd rather be Nas. I'm thinking Bill Gates, why you thinking Steve Jobs? I'm feeling these clubs, but I'm missing my dogs. Who should I call when I wanna have it all? At the dawn of the morning, we rise to seize the day. People say I'm an overachiever, mama say hard work pays. People are people, they say what they wanna say. People are people, let them talk, keep them talking. Talk, keep them talking. Talk, keep them talking.
All right. That was good, man. I just love how you can take someone like King Green, who's a legit rapper. You can take someone like Marlon Asher, but then still have like this tropical kind of very upbeat song. Again, like it's cool because I heard it a long time ago, and now I'm hearing the final. I think I heard it without Marlon Asher, and then see the different parts in it and the cuts. Then it makes sense. Like unless you had it laid it out for me, so there's 4 bars of this. Then I'd be like, okay, but
this definitely took the longest to produce and arrange for sure.
Yeah,
it was just about a year-long process. I recorded the demo. It was like a week ago last year, the very first demo, and then didn't record Marlon's vocals until the end of September, just a couple months ago. So between that and I got Donald from Ballyhoo on drums, who's drummed on
Big D
almost all my songs, most of them at least, and he's got his own home set up now, which is a lot cooler.
I saw it.
So he turned those around real quick, and then JR, he's a local guy too, so that wasn't too difficult. So it was really just finding the vocalist, and I'm super glad I found Marlon. But
I think originally didn't you want to have a female vocalist?
Yeah,
possibly?
I was pretty dead set on getting a female vocalist. I just thought that was the right sound and vibe for the song.
Mm-hmm.
But none of the people got back to me, man.
Damn.
I was throwing out DMs. I was throwing out emails to
Damn.
managers. Okay, so let's do a quick game.
Okay.
What's the first band? Tell me the first band name that comes to mind when you hear butt rock.
5 Finger Death Punch.
Okay, that's a good one. that's really good.
Oh, I hope they're not listening.
That's they might be King Supreme right now of the.
They're gonna come knock on my door and be like, "We heard your podcast, and yeah, we are the kings of butt rock. What about it?"
I mean, it sells, dude. They have a huge
I
audience.
mean, I'm not hating. It's just not my taste. I mean, I'm not in a band that gets to do that for a living, so I'm certainly not hating. But man, someone said Buck Cherry was butt rock too.
I could see that.
But I love Buck Cherry.
Really?
Man. Yeah, when I was younger, I was like too young to know it was about cocaine and stuff, even though it had the word cocaine in it.
That song was pretty cool.
I was going crazy. I saw them live, dude, and he just fucking crushed it. But I could tell he was on a ton of drugs.
Yeah, actually,
he sounded good though.
Actually,
he was ripping, dude.
Crazy Bitch was on the radio on my way here. I would say that's a butt rock.
Really?
That
well, see, that's a butt.
That strikes me as a butt rock song. But their earlier stuff, whatever that cocaine song was, I think that's like a pretty cool rock song. That was like alt rock. Like it was didn't have the I don't know, the analness of the buddiness of the butt.
I would never hate on anyone for doing what they need to do to make money, but at the same time, I just don't feel like we're in an industry where you need to, like, I don't think there's really selling out anymore. I mean, there is, don't get me wrong, but like, I think you could still, if it's good music, you're gonna sell. And then I know it's all about the marketing and distribute. I get that. I know we're simplifying it right now, but I still think I don't know.
No, I think
I don't know where I was going with
that.
Well,
I think you hit on something.
I just took a hit, so I was like,
I think you hit on something interesting, which is what selling out is or is not these days. And like, I think it was more of an issue back in the day when the labels were kind of had control of almost every facet of the industry, because once you go to the label, they kind of own you and control you, change your sound. It happens so many countless bands in the previous decades that just literally like sold out to a label, and then they change their sound to more pop or whatever, and then drop them as soon as they stop selling records. Whereas today, it's like
they want to see it first, and then they'll sign you. Like they want to see what you've done, because then it's more of a sure deal. And then they pump all that money into you, and that's when you get out there and you get to see the things. But I feel like it's less like them controlling you, and then now you can kind of be your own self and be who you are if it's selling.
Right. Yeah, so it's I think the definition has shifted over time, because how can you sell out if you've done everything on your own terms and you just make money doing that?
Yeah.
But a lot of, like, I would say selling, like, where selling out is still sort of in play is when it comes to like corporate sponsorships, because that's becoming more and more, it seems like, a revenue stream for bigger artists. So it's like, if you're making money, if you're making money, good for you. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, if you're in a Chase credit card commercial, is that really aligning with like who you are as an artist and the message you want to communicate to your fans. Because if it is great, but if it's not, then I feel like you've alienated your audience.
Story of the Year is one of my favorite bands. Like, to me, when I was younger and I heard them, they had the perfect mix of singing and screaming. Like, sometimes I feel like certain bands or songs, the singer will just scream just to scream to have it in there because they think that's what people want to hear. That's it, and it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, I get it. You're angry, but I feel like they did it in a way that like went and then going the back and forth and like singing into screaming. It doesn't just have to be at a certain part. So they were one of my favorite bands, and seeing them and meeting them on the Warped Tour was probably, and Lit, actually. Lit was another band.
Oh, yeah?
So it was funny. We were going around to all the different tables. So you've been on the 311 cruise.
Yes.
They don't do this. On the Warped cruise, they set every single artist up in the cafeteria, all at different tables going around. And you got in a line, and you could get an autograph if you look at the poster over there from every single artist, or any artist you wanted. Now, Good Charlotte, their line got cut off at a certain time. And I don't think it was necessarily them because they opened it back up for like 2 minutes and then shut it off again. I give them props. I mean, to be honest, they're not listening. They don't give a shit about me. I could say this. I went up there and they were a huge influence on me musically.
This is Good Charlotte, yeah.
When I was younger, just because they were a local band from Maryland. And, at that point, you're all like, so angsty and stuff. And like, punk was just it for me. And I remember I went up to him. I handed him, I forget what I gave him, because I gave this other guy, because they shut off the line. So one guy didn't have anything, so I gave him my Maryland hat, my Maryland Orioles hat to sign, and they all signed it because I figured they'd think that was cool.
Right.
But then I actually snuck back in. I just jumped over the chair fence thing they had, and I got in the back of the line with these other people. And the one girl was mad, but I was like, look, we're all getting in there. You can go ahead of me. I really need to. I'm from Maryland. I want to get it signed. So I forget who was first. I guess it was Joel. Could have been Benji. I can't tell them apart. They're both kind of bigger and have goatees and rep LA now.
They're twins, right?
Yeah, they're twins. Like, at one point, it was hard. The only reason I could tell them was apart was because Benji always had the long, spiky hair, and Joel had the shorter haircut. But then now, I think at one point, they were both bald with the goatees. They both had the short haircut with the goatees. But anyway, my point of this is I went up to him and I was like, it's really cool being here and being able to see you guys, because I'm from Maryland and growing up you were huge, and I know you don't live there anymore, but you were a big part of me, and but whatever. I didn't really say it like that. I said it cooler than that. That sounded kind of stupid, but
you said some words.
I said some words.
Yeah.
I kept it short. It was cool, but I could definitely tell that they didn't want. He didn't really want to talk to me.
That's fucked up, man.
I thought the Maryland connection was going to have some effect, but apparently, they didn't have the best childhood and they just wanted to get out. And so those guys have been in LA for a while. They're married to Nicole Richie and Cameron Diaz.
One of them is married to Cameron Diaz?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
So they both have like millions out the butthole, And so they don't. Yeah, no. I mean, that was my impression.
That's weird.
I can't speak for them, but I'm just saying, like, that's the impression I got. Was that now the really cool ones were like Paul and I think it was Paul, the bass player. I think that was his name. I think that's him, unless that was the guitarist. I feel bad. I can't remember, but it's been so long, because as soon as they went like after their second album and they went straight to MTV and did the like I just wanna dance, that crap. I was done. I was over it. Yeah. Like when I was younger, I thought I was cooler, in the sense of like I love the music. Like you listen to all the bands that are huge now before they were ever even big, or you ever even knew they were going to be big, But now I'm not in touch with anything that's current, so I don't, I see things differently too. I'm just older, so to me, I get it, why, There's people move on from.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a definition between evolving and like selling out your sound. Like, I just find something suspicious with a band or an artist that changes their sound so drastically to the point you can't even recognize it's that same band. And I think
Like I think
Good Charlotte toes that line. Like Green Day, I think they more evolved than did
me too.
anything else. And
Exactly.
as most bands should do, it'd be weird. It'd be bad if you didn't evolve. But to the point where it's so different that you almost can't even recognize it's that same band. That's suspicious to me.
I would say Fall Out Boy half sold out because I still think they sound like Fall Out Boy, but I was listening to some of their old records and man, they were good. I'm gonna look that up because I should know it. I have the use. The reason I want to do it in studio, so I have the use of stuff. I can look stuff up, and I haven't been. I just can't. I don't want to say the. I don't want to say the album wrong. And it's a classic. I should know it. I feel like. Let's see. I think it's from Under the Cork Tree. I was like, should I play this? Because then it's probably gonna get taken down. Because it has a clip of this. This was good stuff, man.
Just put this record down, take my advice, 'cause we are bad news, we will leave you high and dry. It's not worth the hearing you lose, it's just
I just always loved how they put like punk music with his. He almost has like an operatic.
It sounds cool.
Operatic voice.
Iris says do not open before Christmas. We're only liars, but
I better cut it off there, just in case.
That sounded cool.
No, their old stuff. I mean, that's not even probably the best song on there, but it was the first one that came up. Yeah, that's a good album.
Yeah, I never listened too much to Fall Out Boy.
Really?
I like some. Yeah, I like some of the stuff I've heard.
Dude, you would love their old stuff.
Yeah, I probably
Their
would.
old stuff was,
like what you just played.
Really, really good.
What you played just sounded pretty cool.
It wasn't like the dancey kind of music or the the overproduced music. It was like
Yeah, what you just played is like poppy, but it's still like I don't
they
know.
were
Still had some
underground
balls. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about playing with Essay.
Yeah. So aside from releasing these singles, I've in the back of my head when I started this solo project, I always wanted to figure out a way to get out and start playing live, just because as an artist I feel like you almost have to if you still want to like build an audience, and also it's just can be a lot of fun, and if you're an artist that playing live is one of the the better feelings to get out there and play. So came up with a sort of a hybrid format. It's like half instrumental, half DJ, where I'm playing live guitar and synthesizer over backtracks and beats that are playing through my laptop. And I cover a lot of genres from funk to hip-hop, metal, whatever. And yeah, so I've been doing shows since the summer of this year. And
Have you been talking the whole time?
yeah, I saw you walk away, and I was like, should I stop? But I was like, I can keep going.
No, you did exactly what you should have. But my question is, was it usable, or did you just?
No.
Or did you then be like, oh, were you like, oh crap, he left? What should I talk about?
I just talked about like how
talk about the show.
how
That was
I-
fun.
Well, I was
You
just
didn't
getting to
even-
that.
Oh, you didn't even.
I was
get
just
there
talking
yet.
about like how
Damn, so I ruined it. Okay, go ahead.
I was just
Sorry.
talking about like my approach to playing live as a solo artist and how it's just how I do it. But yeah, so doing like the hybrid like DJ instrumental type set was what I'm working with now. And then in September I was able to get the opening slot for Lost Stellarians, which for those that don't know is S.A. Martinez from 311's side project. They're kind of like more of like a funk band. And I was the only opener. It was in DC on a Monday night. There's 100 plus kids there, fans there, and so not only to release a song with your musical hero, but then to open up for a different one in the same band was just nothing short of an honor. And it was a cool show. It was one of the best shows I've played in a very long time. And it was a Monday night, and you helped with merch, and
Yeah.
It was a good time, man.
Hell yeah. I
That's
keep forgetting the rules of podcasting, or I guess speaking, radio, whatever, is not breathing into the mic. I just like breathed out or straight into the mic while you were talking.
But yeah, so
I'm getting used to it. But yeah, that was an awesome show, man. I had a lot of fun, and honestly, they rocked. It's not that I didn't expect a lot. It's
They were
just I haven't
so
really
good.
heard them minus the thing, and it was just incredible.
they were
All those guys are so
yeah, they're
talented.
super impressive, real cool dudes. I got
Really nice dudes. Yeah.
got to talk to a couple of them, and so that was a highlight. And then
Got to talk to SA for a second.
yep, yeah, I got to pick with him. You met him, I'm sure, or at least said hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so that was a really great show. And then more recently, I opened up Ballyhoo's Halloween show at Baltimore Soundstage.
Oh yeah.
Which was arguably
How could I forget that?
even better.
That was a fun
it was
show too.
It was a bigger crowd.
I
And
liked your suit.
yeah, I got to rock the pineapple suit.
That's a good call.
Yeah, now that I've always gone to those shows just as a fan and a friend, and partied and had a good time. So to finally play one was a really cool feeling, and I was just really happy with how many people showed up for my set. Like there was a line at the door before doors open, and I was like, shit, I was not expecting that at all. Just because maybe it's because I'm getting older, but like I rarely see the openers unless I really know them personally or really like them more than the headliner.
Well, I walked down the line and I asked them, and they all said they were for Ballyhoo, but
Well,
not
obviously.
not everyone's like you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but
I'm totally kidding.
It was kind of a tough crowd, to be
No,
honest.
no, dude, there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
I would say it was like 9 deep, right? Or am I off? Like for your set?
I would say there's probably like 100, like 150, maybe
Yeah.
200 tops there.
Yeah, and that place like 9 deep, 10 deep,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it goes all the way across.
The best response I got was at the end of the set when I threw candy into the crowd. That's not true. I mean, there's pockets of people that were feeling it and bobbing their head and stuff, and I think a lot of them were probably pretty stoned too because it was a reggae show.
I was,
But it was cool. I mean, I wanted to just warm them up for the other bands. You know, that's the opener's job. So
yeah.
hopefully I was able to do that.
Well, I had a lot of fun, man. I thought you sounded great, and we had all mostly pretty much gone sober October, and that was my birthday, basically. I think, well, it was the 26th, and my birthday was the day before, so I consider that. What sucks about having an October, especially a late October birthday, is that anytime we've ever done anything for my birthday, we've basically just gone out for Halloween. You know, it's always like a Halloween birthday or something related to that. I'm just not a huge Halloween guy, and it's not that I'm not. I love Halloween, don't get me wrong. But just I don't like dealing with the crowds, and it's like, you know, I'd rather go to a bar and be able to drink and talk than be standing up at a bar,
Right.
you know, screaming to people who are standing right next to me. But that's just me. The cool thing is my dad still, I don't want to say how old he is. And honestly, I'm like still kind of iffy on how old he is, but I'm pretty sure he just turned 70 this past year. So he plays out still. He has all he needs is a microphone and his Martin, and he's good.
That's
and
sweet, man.
I'm so jealous that he gets to do that because he has the talent to do that. My dad has a great voice, and he'll do like free retirement home gigs too, like because he loves playing in front of people. So he'll pick up some gigs while he'll play retirement homes.
Cool though, man. That's just a testament of how much you love it. Like if you're doing something like when you're 70 or at that age, like it's just a love. It's just
yeah.
I think that trickles down to the bands that have had like.
And they don't even pay him
careers.
for travel or anything like that.
Really?
The lunchtime crowd and those other ones, he'll leave at like noon or a little before that
That's fun.
on the weekend, and then go do the show because they have an older crowd, and a lot of them have that throwback. But he does a lot of like Beatles, Doors, Who, all that, you know, the good stuff from the back in the day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm jealous. He actually got the one thing he told me. I knew I grew up in the wrong time because he got to go see all those bands when he was young. And so he told me, you know, unless you were right, you know, in the first however many rows, first 5 rows, 6 rows, you couldn't even hear the Beatles because the girls were screaming so loud.
Wow.
That all you could hear were the girls screaming, and technology and the different sound systems that they had, PA systems, whatever, were different back then. Like now they blast it. I mean, maybe they still blast it back then. I'm sure for certain things, but I still think it was different. I don't know. Who knows? So, but that's how. And maybe that was a slight exaggeration, but I'm pretty sure he meant it literally. Like sometimes you could. Not, that was hear them.
They were like the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
that's
like
what I'm saying.
They were like the OG boy band.
Right. Exactly. So
it's kind of funny to think of it like that.
And I would have loved to see the Doors. That was another band that I really like from back then as well. But I thought growing up in the 90s, being born in the 80s and growing up in the 90s and being young in the 2000s, being a young teen in the 2000s was like, the best time for music. Like 90s music for me was it. Just everything that came out of it.
I'm a total 90s kid, and it definitely shows in my songs. I don't try to hide it at all. Like I want to bring it back.
Yeah. Like middle school and high school was all punk rock and then like 90s music, Nirvana, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Let me ask you this. What was the first cassette and or CD you owned?
So I think the first cassette, I'm pretty sure it was Green Day Dookie.
Okay, that's a classic.
Was the first cassette, but it could have been Live Throwing Copper.
Okay, nice.
That was another one. Live was a dope band. Dude's a little
They have
weird.
some jams, yeah.
Dude's a little weird.
Ed Kowalczyk.
Dude, he's weird in person and on stage. Like, it's almost uncomfortable weird, but like at the same time, it's like totally harmless. I can't.
They're actually from Pennsylvania. They're not too far.
Oh, yeah,
They're not too far away.
I knew that. I forgot, but as soon as you said that, I remember. Yeah.
They had some jams, man. Like,
didn't they just do a summer tour this last summer with someone? Another 90s band?
I think it was like
was it Better Than Ezra or something.
Yeah, I think it was some like 90s reunion package or something. It was like four like formerly mega 90s famous bands.
Yeah, I grew up
and a lot of those tours are like coming back now. Like the 20-year anniversary tours, the big like package tours where you have like 4 to 5 acts.
Right. No, yeah. And that's cool. That's cool nostalgia. I think whatever they can do to make money, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I don't see any shame in that. If people still want to see it, then
who did I just see? Third Eye Blind, but that dude is creepy from what I hear.
Yeah, I heard he's
I heard he's a super creep, like into younger women, super creep. I don't want to say underage, but like younger women for sure.
Hate to hear it.
Well, that's what the dude from Jimmy Eat World said.
Really?
They just toured with him, and the drummer, the day after they got off tour, or something like that, or like 2 days later. Let's pull up the thing.
Yes,
I'll pull up the.
Someone told me they saw Third Eye Blind in the last year or so, and he seemed pretty messed up. I don't know if he has like substance abuse or.
He seems very narcissistic.
In a weird way. It's kind of funny to see like the famous singers from a different era, an older era that like still have their ego. Like you have a guy like Mark McGrath, who I feel like he seems like such a nice, down to earth guy now, where he was probably a pretty big douchebag, and he'd probably be the first to tell you that back in the day. But now he's just like the nicest dude ever. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's cool to see that, and then on the flip side, to have other guys that still like think they're the shit, or creep out, think they want to pull like young chicks like they could in the 90s, but they're like 50.
Yeah. I was listening, kind of. Sorry. I was listening.
Josh is looking up
I was trying to read the thing. I mean, I was going to see if there was more here, but Jimmy Eat World drummer calls Third Eye Blind Stephen Jenkins a fucking creepy douchebag.
Is that the actual headline?
Yeah.
Jesus.
But he said it. It's on this Twitter. Stephen Jenkins is such a fucking creepy douchebag. So
wow.
It was quote. It was not like a made up headline or anything. And then in parentheses is, I feel so much better now. I feel like there was more in depth of, but I assume they're not going to be touring anytime soon together.
I like Jimmy Eat World a lot.
Dude, they're so good. They should have been headlining, to be honest with you now. I mean, Stephen Jenkins was in the heroin and shit like that. I mean,
really?
Yeah, that was with the whole album. That's how they got famous, because the whole album was about them being addicted to heroin. Probably still does it.
Huh.
No, I don't know. How do you not know this, man? I thought you're like...
Third Eye Blind wasn't one of the bands I like knew religiously. I like that album, like the song "Graduate." I like a lot.
The songs I like aren't the popular ones. Like, those were good, but I like the Motorcycle Drive By, and I liked God of Mine. But what was the other one? Crap.
Yeah.
I can't remember. There's another. It's not obscure. I mean, people know it, but it wasn't, one of their singles. Anyway.
What was one of the craziest shows you went to in the 90s? Or maybe like craziest or most like memorable or impactful to you as a young Josh 90s kid?
Well, definitely Green Day for sure. The problem is I didn't get to see them until I was a little older, so I guess that doesn't really count. I guess I fucked up that question. Sorry, I'm like turning around to look at my wall because I'm trying to think. There's so many. Really, for me, if you're talking about just concert and not band, is that what you're saying? Can I just say a concert too?
The concert.
The
yeah.
HF Festival, when they used to have HF Festivals.
Those lineups were gnarly.
You didn't live here then, right?
No, but I've like
you've seen
I've
it and
I've gone back and like looked at those lineups, and I don't think to this day there were better major festival lineups than the HF festivals.
Oh my god, they had like every single band,
Like
was a
all my favorite bands,
like the ones in little
played.
print were headliners to me, because they were some of the ones that were the smaller print were like my favorite bands. Some of the underground stuff too. But yeah, man, they had so many, and one year it was just huge. And and I was young then. My dad used to bear it out for me. He would take me to the shows and then just sit by himself, like, because I was young. I was like so young, and I'd go run off with my friends. He would just sit and bake in the sun while I was off all day, and just by himself. And I felt, now looking back, I'm so thankful, and like I was like, man, now I feel bad, kind of. But I know he loved going, and it wasn't always like that. But I would definitely leave him for a few hours. And I just remember those being such a memorable time because I was so young. Yeah. And, we were underage, so we would sit, we'd find a way to get some beers or do whatever, maybe smoke a little bit of weed. That was a good time. That's when you didn't have any worries, and you were just there for the music.
Totally.
But the craziest, you asked what crazy is. I just said that was my most memorable and fun. So I didn't even answer the question. Shit. Probably the craziest one, since I was younger, would be the Summer Sanitarium tour with Metallica. It was like Metallica, Kid Rock, Power Man 5000.
Oh man, that's a throwback.
Yeah. The craziest show I went to, it was A Day to Remember, August Burns Red, and Silverstein. But the reason it was the craziest show I've ever been to is because they were still not as popular as they are now. So it was at like Sonar, I think, was the venue back when that was around, like underneath the bridge. I think.
I think that was before I lived here.
Oh, really? Yeah, it was that long ago. Shit. Damn.
I've heard of it.
I keep thinking it's yesterday, but it's not. No, it's a small place. So the fact that it was metalcore in such a small place, people were just throwing elbows. And you're just getting,
those are some of the best shows, like the tiny club shows.
Yeah, I definitely left with bruises and blood, and my friend definitely got his nose broken. It was a lot of fun.
I had my nose broken at a Seven Dust show when I was in high school. I think I was a freshman in high school. It's the very last song of the encore, and a crowd surfer fucking kicked me in the face and fucking busted my nose.
Yeah, I've gone through phases. Like when I was younger, I loved punk in the 90s, obviously. But even in the 90s, I was really into rap music, like we talked about before. And then as I got older, and I started to listen to 311 more, or see 311 more, it kind of branched me out into some of these other reggae bands. So I listened to that. But then I also kind of, as I was getting into reggae, was getting into more heavier music. But as far as like either metal, hard rock, or like metalcore, that type of stuff. And I always liked heavy music when I was younger, but they didn't really have that. It was rock, like Korn and stuff like that. It wasn't like the mix of like punk and pop and metal, So I really enjoy some of those bands. Right now, I Prevail and A Day to Remember are some of my tops I love seeing because they just put on such a good show. Like to me, A Day to Remember is like a heavier Blink. They have the perfect mix of like, commerciality, but also like they stay true to themselves. So even when it's a poppier song or a more upbeat song, and it's not so heavy, it's still them, which I think is great. You can only scream for so long. I feel like he's also trying to save his voice a little bit.
That's smart.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, man. I scream at a show and I'm like out of breath. I can't even imagine like I'm just talking to people. I'm not even like singing.
I would say in like more recent history, like the last 5 years, the craziest concert experience was probably Limp Bizkit.
I saw them at that's why I said HF Festival,
Yeah.
because I remember them when they were actually good before they did all that Chocolate Starfish and some of the other stuff. Although some people like that album, but I think I was.
I think that album has a few good cuts on it, but overall, it's not like
just that first album.
It's not like a start
one.
to finish like great album in my opinion. I think $3 Bill Y'all and
that was a band that sold out.
Significant Other. I thought those were good albums.
Yeah.
But their show was actually fucking awesome. It was like really cool.
I
I got a
good.
black eye in the mosh pit, and like I had a client meeting the next day, and they're like
that was
older,
recent, right?
2014, I think, like 5 years ago.
Oh, because recently they came back and I saw him doing some shows, and he's like all old, and he still wears this weird jumpsuit.
Yeah, they're still doing shows. Or it seems like mostly like festival shows, but that was at the Fillmore Silver Spring, which is a smaller theater. So that was like,
oh yeah, I like that one.
It was pretty. It took a while for the crowd to warm up because I think they were just older, but eventually, like by the end of the second song, it opened up and it was just a chaotic mosh pit, and moshing to break stuff was like, I felt like a rite of passage.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'd never seen them.
That was a great
They had
album.
never seen them before, so I was like,
dude, they went from being one of my favorite bands too, because that was like, I was kind of into both of that stuff and heavier music still back then, and they went from just being such a great band to being. And I don't blame who am I to say whatever someone handing me money like that back in the day, but like still I miss. Yeah, I think I was just on that one album, and that was it. Was that Significant Other, or was that the other?
Yeah,
one?
the Significant
With,
Other
like, Break
was
Stuff
the
and,
one with Break Stuff.
What's the cover? Was that with the cover?
The cover of Significant Other is like the graffiti type.
No, the one he did the big single.
Oh, Faith.
Yeah.
Oh, that was on
$3
That was on $3 Bill.
Oh, see,
that was,
that's the one I like.
Yeah,
I
that was their
one.
debut.
Maybe
like,
both of those albums were okay. Everything after that was like.
I thought that was. Yeah, I think I agree. I thought those were their two best, but still put on a good show. I like Wes Borland as a guitarist too. Like,
oh yeah,
his tones, his setup, it's pretty solid. I like his riffs. A lot of people hate on him, but
I don't really, because I feel like I hated on the new guy they brought in. I never was a fan of his.
He was from Maryland, right?
I think so. I can't remember his name. It didn't last long, right? Because Wes came back.
Yeah, Wes
pretty
came back. Yeah,
recently after that, I thought, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Is there a bucket list band that you still want to see? Because I mean, we've been to a lot of shows over the past couple decades. So do you have who are some of your like bucket list bands?
So it's kind of cool that I can say there really isn't a bucket list band that I'm like, fuck, I really need to see them, because I was lucky that my dad took me to all those shows when I was younger. So I've at least seen them, and I've seen them in their prime. So if I don't get to see them again, I'm not like completely upset.
Sure.
I was lucky I got to see Tom Petty right before he died.
Wow.
And I got so lucky with that one. But now I would have loved to have been able to see Nirvana and Sublime when I was younger, but I was too young. Like in '94, I was only 10 years old. Which is crazy because 94 to everyone else is like old, but
yeah, I don't think I started really going to like rock shows until like 2000. Goldfinger was my first like rock show.
21 Pilots had when I got their tickets, I was like, man, these are going to be really, really expensive. And they were cheap, dude. They were
Really?
super cheap. I mean, still, I would say they were still like $60, $70, but for a band like that, that's pretty cheap. You know, I thought they were going to be 100. Now, after fees and stuff, it was like closer to 85, 90. But like, what a good price. You know, that's affordable. You can take your kids and go see them. And they always put on a good show, too.
I love 21 Pilots, man. They're
Oh, yeah, Ohio boys. So you know that.
yeah.
And you took me to see speaking of Fillmore, you took me to see Starset, which was an awesome show. And I always rep that hat. So if you're listening,
that hat's badass.
so if you're listening, I rep you guys on tour all the time. It fits well. It looks good. It's simple. But the
Actually,
production value, Jesus, that was great. And you told me he kind of does that himself.
Yeah,
He
Dustin, their
programs it
singer,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, he engineered like almost all of the
That's why I don't like to hear bands like complain about shit. I'm like, this guy engineers his own freaking literal, like they make it into almost a movie.
Yeah, so
they're
if
almost
anyone's
like a
out
soundtrack.
there, if anyone's out there, check out Starset. Their sound isn't for everyone. It's definitely it's a unique.
different.
Yeah, it's a unique thing. It's like a cinematic hard rock opus.
But I think
like there's some operatic like vibes in there too. But the live show, regardless if you like the music or not, like I don't think you can deny how forward thinking and technological their live production is. I've never seen a band like come close to something like that. From
their level too. Like anyone
Yeah.
can, and even the ones that have all the production and money, tour budget in the world, don't even come close to like sometimes.
But they
They'll
even
just throw on a background, maybe a couple pictures,
Yeah.
and have a good light show.
yeah,
and then that's it.
their performance is almost it's in like an immersive experience. It's like a movie. Like you're it's not just music. It's a lot more than that. And they even have an app where if you like look at they're embracing technology obviously. So if you like look at like through your phone in the app, like there's different visuals you can see from their lights, like 3D visuals and stuff like that. And
Right.
they put stuff up around the cities they play. They have street teams and within the venue that like you can unlock codes like with their app.
Yeah.
And it's just like crazy shit like that. That just
And I
like
saw that.
like little details that like their fan base is like so insanely diehard because they give them
do
that
like
experience.
small things,
They
yeah.
bring them into like their society and like their whole message and mission of the band. And so like the followers, the fans like feel like they're part of it.
I love that, and I even noticed it when I was standing in line to get the merch because they had on that they had like that sign. All right, dude. Well, is there anything else you want to rep? Do you have any? What's your all your Instagram stuff and all your music stuff?
Yeah, so the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all Songs by Wes. And then all the streaming platforms, just search my name. YouTube, search my name and the song title, or else I'll get buried in the results with the movie director.
He's already got enough likes and stuff.
Yeah.
And what a great episode. Our first episode. You can tell the difference between now and before. And I'm still getting used to it. I'm still getting better, but I think I've come a long way since that first episode. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.